Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to our Student Citizen of the Month portion of our council meeting. This is by far our council's favorite. I apologize in advance for the braces picture, but I just got braces on Monday, and I feel like I need some moral support. So I think I got that today. I think we're good. Really grateful for all of you that are here today, and especially very grateful for our teachers. This is a tough time of the year for our teachers. There's a culmination of all sorts of amazing things, but also the exhaustion from the entire year, I'm sure, sets in. I'm the daughter of an educator, so I remember these last 2 weeks really well. They deserve all those gifts in a week or so that we're going to shower upon them. But we do want to recognize all of our teachers, administrators, and staff that are here today. So if you are one of our favorite people in the entire town of Gilbert, our teachers, our administrators, and our staff, will you please stand so we can recognize you? These are good people. Thank you. And thank you for coming on your night off to support your kids. That doesn't surprise me, but it always makes me really happy to see you continue to do that. I need a helper. Will both of you guys come help me? Come here, come help me. Oh, these handsome boys. I love your faux hawks. Those are really cool. My boys all had faux hawks when they were your size too. What's your name?
Kai.
Kai? Is it K-A-I? You know how to spell your name. You're awesome. What's your name? Is that your brother? What's your brother's name?
Merrick.
Merrick. I like that name too. Thanks, Merrick. We need your help, okay? So amazing. We have a brand new restaurant in the town of Gilbert, Culinary Dropout. They're downtown. And when I was there not too long ago, the regional manager came up to me and said, hey, I know you guys do like a Student Citizen of the Month program. Can we donate gift cards to the teachers that submit names? And I was like, you can donate whatever you want. So we actually have a $100 gift card for one of our teachers. And these handsome boys, Kai and Merrick, are going to pick the name out of this basket. It's the names of the teachers who submitted an application. They took their time to do that, and we want to make sure we honor them. So everybody shop Culinary Dropout, and let's see. Ty, will you do that? Kai, will you do that for us? Merrick, thank you so much. You guys are good. All right, we're going to do this one right here. You know what? Let's do two, actually. You know what? Let's do two. We have enough to do two. Okay, because they were so generous. We have enough to do two. All right, we have Mrs. Nina from EduPrise School. Is Mrs. Nina here? Awesome, Mrs. Nina. Do you want to help me give that to her? Come over here and we'll give it to her. Come on over here. What a good helper you are. Do you want to work for Town Hall? We could use you. Thank you, congratulations. All right, we've got one more that Merrick pulled for us. You'll get him okay, she'll get it for him. Mr. Siegabart from Greenfield Junior High. Is Mr. Siegabart here? Awesome. Okay, we'll bring it to you. We're going to go grab it. We want to make sure we get that. Valerie will connect with you before we leave today. Congratulations. Now you have a nice night out. All right, thanks for your help, Kai. Have a seat. Okay, we do this really organized. Oh, and I forgot one thing. Go back to that last slide. Another great Gilbert restaurant is Sal's Gilbert Pizza, and they have put a certificate in each of the kids' bags, so they get free Sal's Gilbert Pizza. So something for the whole family to enjoy. We've honored our teachers. All right. We also want to let, especially our teenagers in the room know that we have Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee applications that are available starting now. So that's for kids that are going to be sophomores and juniors next year. It's a great program. It's a 1-year-long program. They meet once a month, and they get a chance to learn all about the town, grow some of their leadership skills, and really meet people from all over the community. So if you know someone going into 10th or 11th grade that's interested in participating, it's also really good for your resume and looks really good on your college application. So we're not silly. We know exactly why some of the kids participate, but definitely because they love Gilbert. So just wanted to make you guys aware of that. All right, we do this in 3 groups, and we are really efficient. You guys are going to be really impressed with how efficiently we do this. If the students that are being honored tonight, if they go to Ashland Ranch Elementary all the way down to Islands Elementary, they're part of our Group 1, and Councilmember Ray. Oh, and I forgot to introduce the council. That's horrible. Sorry. They're my favorite people. Councilmember Ray here. We have Vice Mayor Eddie Cook. Councilmember Scott Anderson, Councilmember Bridget Peterson, Councilmember Jared Taylor, and Councilmember Amy Yentes. They work so hard for the town. All right, now I want your kids to come on down and go stand with Councilmember Ray, and we'll do this. Valerie's going to be taking pictures tonight, and she'll stand right here and take them, and it's a pretty simple process, but all those pictures will be available for you on both Facebook and on Flickr this evening, and you are welcome, obviously, to take a photo as well, and this area is the best area to do that. A to I, Ashland Ranch Elementary, all the way down to Islands Elementary. Come on down. That's group 1.
You're doing fine. You're doing fine. Okay, Mayor, I think we're ready to begin. From Ashland Ranch Elementary, Emery Grantham. From Bridges Elementary, Knox Rawlings. From Burke Elementary, Rustin Bingham. Okay, no Rustin. Any Rust? No? Okay, from Carol Ray Ranch Elementary, Riker Ash Illiman. Riker? No? Okay, from Centennial Elementary, Jaden Olcott. From Chandler Traditional Academy, Michael Haggart. From EduPrize School, Logan Reber. From Gateway Point Elementary, Abigail Upshaw. You know, Mayor, she matches your colors. From Highland Park Elementary, Lillian Clough. From Higley Traditional Academy, Sage Romney. From Houston Elementary, Joshua Kelly McCarty. And our last elementary school from Group 1 is from Islands Elementary, Kennedy Ochoa.
We know it's a school night, and for a lot of kids, a busy week. So if once your child gets their award, if you need to leave, we completely understand, and of course, you're welcome to stay as well. The second group is all of the rest of our elementary school students. So any of the rest of the kids that are here from elementary.
Okay.
There are two Mesquite Elementaries. There are two. Right there. Romero, Jackson. I have it ready to go. Perfect. Her best friend
Okay, Mayor. From Mesquite Elementary, Cindy Romeo Jackson. I want that. Yes. And also from Mesquite Elementary, Anthony Rotunda. From Oak Tree Elementary, Adam Bevel. From Patterson Elementary, Brianna McCormick. From Pioneer Elementary, Aaliyah Taylor. From Playa del Rey Elementary, Adrienne Joyner. From Quartz Hill Elementary, Charlotte Brandenburg. Oh. From Riggs Elementary, Matthew Hansen. From Santan Elementary, Mia Zamora. Okay. From Settlers Point Elementary, Colton Cagle. Oh. It's like, that was like awesome. All right. From from Sonoma Ranch Elementary, Priscilla Murphy. From Spectrum Elementary, Jesslyn Lester, or Laster, excuse me, Laster. From Town Meadows Elementary, John Davis. Yeah, yeah, 2-1. From Weinberg Elementary, Haley Green. And also from Weinberg Elementary, Jenna Jacobs.
All right, group 3 is all of our junior high and high school students that are here. So come on down.
Yeah, but where's it at? Down in the southeast.
Gilbert High School kid, when we get to him,
Market.
played basketball for the state champion basketball team. He plays for Hamilton School, senior.
Okay.
So he was the trainer all year. They put him in
Which one?
senior.
Oh,
So just mentioned state basketball champion as well.
Arizona State.
Yes. They were,
Are they 5A? 5A.
but
Okay.
he's involved in news.
Okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
That's him. All right, Mayor. Are you ready? From Campo Verde High School, Michaela DeBoer. From Canyon Valley High School, Haley Crew. From Cooley Middle School, Sydney Mosher. From Gilbert Classical Academy, Sophia Warren.
Give him a little something here, Eddie.
Oh, I give them. And Mayor, we're privileged to have the state of Arizona 5A high school basketball champion from the championship team from Gilbert High School, Marcus McDonald.
Awesome. Oh, and there's Mr. Stroud from Gilbert High School.
And the mayor loves basketball. She did that all the time when she was younger. From Greenfield Junior High, Robert Bloom. From Higley High School, Lexi Marie Atkins. From Leading Edge Early College, Joshua Bush. From Mesquite High School, Ashley Davis. From Payne Junior High, McKay Hartman. From Perry High School, Kate Montgomery. And our last school from Group 3, from South Valley Junior High, Noah Lopez.
Like last That was great. Last but not least.
All right, that concludes our Student Citizen of the Month part of our council meeting. Enjoy your night and good luck with the last week of school.
Who's a rowdy Jamal?
Yes. She's really holding up it. Let me tell you. You know what? Well, I don't know what she got. My name's Lisa. Nice to meet you. So my birthday. So somebody dropped the. Somebody dropped your birthday. And I don't know how to get it to mail. And I want you to. Yeah. What? Okay.
All right, we have already called this meeting to order and finished our Student Citizen of the Month awards. And at this time, we'll ask the scouts that are present today to come forward and join Councilmember Yentes down in front. And we will have the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by an invocation by Pastor Adam. Is it Bailey? Are you right there, Adam? I can kind of see you. Pastor Bailey of Christ Church Gilbert. So thank you for being here. We appreciate you.
All right, and I think we already have a volunteer for the pledge. Do you mind introducing yourself, each one of you, and what troop number you're with? Yeah.
I'm Eli Deason, and we're from Troop 235.
I'm Cole Falagrady, and I'm from Troop 235.
I'm Jack Rasmussen, I'm 235.
I'm Alex Winnie, and I'm from Troop 235.
I'm Phoenix King, and I'm from Troop 780.
Scout leaders, you're not off the hook.
Kent Rasmussen, 235.
And Scott Mayer, Troop 235.
Would you mind leading us in the pledge?
Do you just want to say the first line? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. Thank you very much. And for coming tonight, we'd like to give you a gift before you leave, which is a copy of the Constitution. This is considered one of your civics lessons for the evening. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scouts. Thanks for all the service you do in Gilbert. We're very grateful. Pastor Bailey?
Father in heaven, we count it a privilege to speak to you directly tonight through the finished work of your Son, Jesus, and to pray on behalf of Mayor Daniels and this council, and to ask you to grant them wisdom and discernment to serve our community with justice and with equality. Thank you for the responsibility that you've entrusted to government. Thank you for the service that is done through each of these men and women. And we pray your richest blessing, not just on this council, but on our entire city. We trust you, and we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor Bailey, and please send our appreciation back to those who attend church and are considered amongst your flock. We appreciate the work that you do. At this time, we have one proclamation. Councilmember Bridget Peterson, who is also the liaison to our Sister Cities group, is here to present.
Thank you, Mayor. I am very privileged to ask the students of Wushu Academy to please come down here and join me. And if you'd like to bring your teachers, I think we call you Jane, correct? That's great. And I have certificates for all of you, so let me just hand them to you as you walk by. Lucas Tam, right here, and then come stand over here, Lucas. I hate to have my back to the audience. Matthew Wang, Jordan Jordan May, Brad Wu, and Kelly Chow. So let me get the proclamation that I can read to you to talk all about these great students that are serving as ambassadors on their trip to China. This is Jane Ho. She is their teacher. Phoenix Wushu Academy. Whereas Phoenix Wushu Academy is a Chinese martial arts school located in Gilbert, With a mission to promote Chinese and Asian culture, the Academy is known for training high-level athletes that represent the U.S. in international competitions all around the world. And whereas this summer, on June 14th to 18th, 2019, 5 elite students, right here by my side, of the Phoenix Wushu Academy will be traveling to Leshan, China, which is one of our 2 sister cities, to compete in the 8th World Wushu Kung Fu Championships, the largest Chinese martial arts tournament in the world. Whereas this tournament has over 7,000 of the top competitors around the globe coming together in a fierce competition where only the best will win. In such a tough competition, Phoenix Wushu Academy has had a record of doing very well. And whereas last time in the 7th World Wushu Kung Fu Championships, they brought home a total of 1 gold, 3 silver, and 6 bronze medals, whereas Phoenix Wushu Academy students have put in countless hours of hard work in their sport, and through their strength, diligence, and perseverance, they have brought pride and honor to the great town of Gilbert with their achievements throughout the years, and whereas they hope to inspire people around them with the passion and dedication they have for the sport of Wushu, and aspire to become a bridge for American and Chinese culture. Therefore, on behalf of Jen Daniels, Mayor of the town of Gilbert, we do hereby recognize on May 16th, 2019, Phoenix Wushu Academy as ambassadors of Gilbert to Leshan. I urge my fellow citizens to recognize and applaud the achievements of these bright and dedicated students representing our great town in this prestigious international event. Why don't you hold this? You want to go stand in the middle of that? There we go.
prepared a little bit
Oh,
demo.
oh, they did.
Can we switch over just a little bit to that side? Yeah, it's very quick. Okay, everybody hand out.
Mayor, they'd like to do a very quick demonstration if that's okay. And I'd love to be able to show these students off. And I know Councilmember Taylor's been asking me if they could do this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Terrific. And I also see Dragon Sam over there, a pillar of our community. Hello, Dragon Sam. Glad you're here.
Line up. All right, so hi everyone. My name is Jane Ho. I am a coach at the Phoenix Wushu Academy. Nice to see you all tonight. So, if you're wondering what Wushu is Chinese martial arts, and we are one of the top Chinese martial arts schools in U.S. We are home to many U.S. team members, and behind me are 5 of our top students, and they have been chosen this year to represent the U.S. traditional Wushu team to compete in the 8th World Wushu Kung Fu Championships in China. So, starting off with, we have Lucas Tam right here. He specializes in monkey fist. Let's give him a big round of applause. Second, we have Brad Wu. Salute. He specializes in an internal style called Xing Yi Quan. Very nice, Brad. And thirdly, we have Kelly Chow. She specializes in Fanzi Quan. It's called lightning fist. So very quick and powerful movements. Very nice. Up next, we have Jordan May, and he specializes in Tong Bi Quan, so it's through our boxing. Long reach, very powerful. Very nice. And lastly, we have Matthew Wang. He specializes in Tang Lang Quan, mantis form. Very nice. So like I mentioned before, we will be going to the 8th World Wushu Kung Fu Championships. And it's a very, very tough competition with over 2,500 of the top competitors from all over the world coming in to compete. And our kids have trained really, really hard to be here. And that's why we are so thankful for the city of Gilbert for supporting us. And yes, we just want to thank you guys. We want to thank Jen Daniels, our mayor, for showing her support by issuing this proclamation and making them ambassadors of Gilbert. And we would like to thank the Gilbert Sister City for making this happen. Thank you to Valaire and Suzanne for really making this work for us. We really appreciate this. And we want to thank Council Member Bridget Peterson for being here tonight. We are so blessed and honored to be here. So thank you very, very much. Yes. All right, so how about, before we go, how about we show our support to our athletes? On my count of 3, let's say good luck, Phoenix Wushu Academy. 3, 2, 1. Good luck, Phoenix Wushu Academy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane. I think if you can tell by Jane's excitement that they're pretty proud to be going to China. And when we were connected, Gilbert Sister Cities was connected through Dragon Sam to the Phoenix Wushu Academy. They have done everything that they can to support the group this year. They appeared at our East to West Fest and performed for all of the people that attended, and everybody just raved about them. When I found out they were going to Leshan, China, one of our 2 sister cities, we just had to make sure that they were here and we could honor them and wish them safe travels and best of luck. And I hope you'll report back to me when you get back, Jane. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That completes the proclamations and presentations portion of our meeting and moves us to communications from citizens. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. We do have citizens that would like to speak. Let me just read this real quickly here. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters within the jurisdiction of the town, but not on the agenda. The council responses is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, and asking that that matter be put on a future agenda. Mayor, we'd like to invite Marianne Ciato to the podium. Okay, she's not here. All right, we'd like to invite Carolyn Footy to the podium, or Foot. Carolyn, if you can always correct us. Come to the podium. If you can state your name and place of residence, and you'll have 3 minutes to share your comments to the council.
Thank you. So my name is Caroline Foote, and I actually live in the city of Gilbert. And I'm going to be talking about cats, and whether you like cats or don't like cats, there is a huge issue with, of course, the feral cats. And I do live in an apartment complex within the city limits, and with the proper property management support, I have been trapping and neutering, doing a TNR, trap, neuter, release, to reduce the population of the feral cats. Now, the average indoor cat has a lifespan of 15 to 20 years. The outdoor cats, the feral cats, have a lifespan of 5 to 7 years. So what I would actually like, I do understand that it is, you do get fined if you are caught feeding the feral cats, but the cats don't know whether on private property or on public property. So there is an issue that there are people that are willing to trap, neuter, and release these cats so that there is an overpopulation, that it remains under control. So I do thank you for the time, and I hope you reconsider this measure.
Thank you. I'd like to invite Victoria Stallings to the podium. Victoria, if you can state your name and place of residence. And you'll have 3 minutes to share with us your thoughts to the council.
Thank you. My name is Victoria Stallings, and Gilbert has been my home for 31 years. Mayor Daniels, Vice Mayor Cook, and council members, May 17th, you quietly passed the ordinance 2664 prohibiting the feeding of feral animals on town property. This ordinance directly impacts community volunteers' ability to utilize the trap, neuter, and return program. TNR is a proactive approach to minimizing and managing the feral cat population in our town. Gilbert has approximately 22 major and neighborhood parks. Because putting food in traps is considered feeding, the city ordinance has brought TNR to a halt, and we've had a year of kittens being born in our parks. If we have those 22 parks, and we have an average of 10 cats in that park, and 5 of them are female, if they even just have 3 kittens, averaging 3 litters a year, we have probably 1,000 new kittens that were born in our community, in our parks in Gilbert this last year. Some of you have reached out to work on a humane solution to this growing population of kittens and homeless cats in our parks and on town property. We truly appreciate your time and effort. Others have just been frustrated that we're still talking about the feral cat issue. We have read and seen blogs about solutions some of our community members have tried: poisoning them, shooting them, dumping them in the desert, turning their dogs loose on them, or drowning them. And yet compassionate community volunteers provide food and water to the homeless cats and kittens in our town, and they're the ones that are being fined. Martin Luther King said, "Our lives begin to end the day that we become silent about things that matter." We are a community. There are community volunteers who have been working behind the scenes for years, utilizing the Trap, Neuter, and Return program to support this town in managing the feral cat problem in a humane way. The police department's mission statement states that they want to support a community where people feel safe in their homes, in public places, and on our roadways. Our community volunteers are trying to make our town a safe place for homeless cats and kittens. This is not a time for silence. This is our time to speak up. The mayor and town council, we're waiting for you to take the lead in showing this town how to humanely treat homeless cats and kittens. To paraphrase Gandhi, the good men and women of this world are friends of all living things. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to invite Mr. Paul Rodriguez. Paul, if you can state your name, place of residence, and we'll allow you to have 3 minutes to share with us with the council.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, Mayor, council members. I just want to say that I think it's possible that we can work together. I mean, I wrote down shared objective. I think the objective that everyone has with regard to these homeless cats and kittens is we'd like to see the number go down. In fact, we'd like to see the number be 0. I'd like to be sitting on my sofa at home watching the Golden State Portland game right now, to be honest with you. But the way I was raised and the way I was brought up, you can't sit back. You know, there's a story, pretty good story a couple months ago I read. The gentleman in the story was, they never gave his name. This happened during World War II in the Philippines. And there were a number of children that were being held as bait because the Americans were fighting the Japanese. And there was an infantryman who was ordered to stay put, but he knew that there were a bunch of kids, Filipinos, in a building. And he said, you know what? I don't care what the orders are. I'm going to do what I can to rescue those kids. And he did. And his reward is he got shot in one of his lungs. He lived. And afterward, people asked him, well, why are you doing that stuff? And he goes, well, you know what? There were just some kids that needed some help. So when someone says to me, well, why are you bothering with this stuff? It's not really that complicated. There's an animal here that needs to be fed, or it's hungry, or it's sick. And I have the means and the ability to do something. So I'll do something. I sleep pretty well at night. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. We'd like to invite Dorlise Machado Liddell. Dorlise, if you can state your name, place of residence, and we'll allow you 3 minutes to share with the council. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dorlise Machado Liddell, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the homeless cats. I don't agree with the homeless cats being fined. It's the individuals who are feeding the homeless cats that are being fined. It's the responsibility of the people who feed the homeless cats. They have to take the responsibility for breaking the law or continuing to feed the feral cats. I ask the people of Gilbert to stop feeding the feral cats, to not feed the feral cats in poverty-stricken neighborhoods, to not feed the cats near parks where people reside. I too would like my animals to live and to be able to go outside, to not eat cat feces, to be able to live with a doggy door so that I can live on my property. So that I ask the people who are feeding the feral cats, please take them to your property. Purchase property and have a cat sanctuary. That is the humane thing to do. If you continue to feed the cats will continue to come. I ask, I beg, that you stop feeding the feral cats because it does not solve the problem. I also believe if you take the feeding of the feral cats to your neighborhood, to your neighbors, have it at your neighborhood, but please do not take it to my neighborhood. And my neighborhood is parks also, because all taxpayers pay for parks and recreation, and all people should have the right to enjoy their property. So I ask and I thank you for supporting the ordinance, because I think it's needed and necessary. The humane treatment of animals, and according to PETA, that is not humane to let the animals starve or even be outside without a home. If people really wanted to take care of animals, they would take them into their home. They would vaccinate them. They would accept the liability for the animal. So thank you again. I know that you cannot speak, but I thank you, and my neighbors also thank you.
We do not boo in our council chambers. Thank you. We have order of business to take care of in the council chambers. So thank you for everyone communicating with citizens today. We appreciate that. Moving to the consent agenda. Vice Mayor.
Mayor, we're going to pull agenda item 2A. With that, I move that we approve agenda item 2, 3, 3A, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And for agenda item 13, move to remove Jolene Fleck from the Town of Gilbert Judicial Selection Committee, and I move to appoint Nathan Williams as a member of the Gilbert Judicial Selection Committee, and agenda item 14.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. That moves us to agenda item 2A. Yeah, staff to provide us a brief presentation on 2A. Before you sit down. Oh, just kidding.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. Delighted to present this evening a project that is slated for the Heritage District. I'll briefly review some information to give you sort of a sense for the project, its location, the timeline of the development, et cetera. So the 9.1 acre site located in the Heritage District just south of Juniper, north of the Powerline Trail, depicted here just a little bit west of Gilbert Road. Quick overview of the site, members of the council. Council directed staff to release a request for qualifications for the 9.1 acre site in January of 2018, to which the RFQ was released. We conducted interviews in August of 2018 and developed a short list of firms to which a request for proposal would be submitted and ultimately received. As part of that receipt for those shortlisted groups, we developed a working charrette with 3 firms. That took place in October of 2018. And then ultimately, we took, through executive session, the firms, the charrettes, the information that we were aware of, provided that to council to ultimately seek direction, to which on October 16th, you directed us to negotiate with DMB and LGE. The process included 11 committee members, if you will, which included town staff, council members, members of the general public, as well as the consultant that helped develop the redevelopment plan, redevelopment commissioner members, as I indicated, residents, business and property owners in the Heritage District, as well as real estate and development experts. The sort of site planning process from RFQ to RFP to interviews. This slide conveys sort of an original 9 responses to the RFQ, 5 interviews, 3 responses to the RFP, to which staff negotiated and went through a working charrette to understand sort of the vision and the intent of the project, and then ultimately led to negotiations with DMB and LGE. What you have before you is sort of the inspiration for the development from the redevelopment plan. This site within the redevelopment plan is known as the North Anchor. And as you can see by this vision for the 9.1 acre site, it includes things like the northern component of a paseo, which is a north-south pedestrian stretch that is intended to accommodate pedestrians, bicycle riders, et cetera, from age 9 to 90 as an example. It included restaurant and entertainment, shared parking structures, as well as retail, enhancements to the Western Canal, and generally a mixed use of offices, retail, entertainment uses, park, which on this picture conveys the commons, and just a myriad of mixed uses and asset classes. Through the negotiations and discussions with LGE and DMB, we were able to identify some specific areas to which we thought were appropriate to negotiate. Some arrival signage in the Heritage District from the north. So as you approach today in the Heritage District, while a destination, really lacks that sense of arrival or that presence through signage. So we were able to negotiate with this developer what we're characterizing as signature signage at the north end of the project. The signature signage does not include rooftop signage or anything of that nature. Rather, it's a branding opportunity for the Heritage District at large. In addition, the construction and use of the Commons or the Commons Park, which was envisioned in the redevelopment plan as perhaps a Christmas tree lot or something along those lines. $350,000 in contributions to be placed into the Heritage District by Gilbert. Construction of what we're calling the north segment of the Paseo. Again, the Paseo is a north-south element originating at this site, essentially the Commons Park, down south to essentially Heritage HD South. In addition to the construction of the north segment of the Paseo, we sought improvements to the southern border of the development such that it integrated or complemented the Western Powerline Trail. These improvements to the Western Powerline Trail would include no less than $150,000 in public art. We agreed that through the negotiation process, the square footages referenced in not only the development agreement, but also this presentation are represented as the minimums, not maximums. And what I mean by that is, at a minimum, you will see 500,000 square feet of mixed-use development on this site. We also agreed on one phase of the development so that this would not be a project that had a construction timeline, of 20 years, but rather be completed rather quickly in one phase of development. And as you can see on this slide, it's anticipated the certificate of occupancy for all of this development would occur between Q2 and Q4 of 2021. We also agreed on a process for determining the fair market value of this site, citing that at a minimum, the site would have a baseline of $5.3 million. This slide here, Mayor and Council, convey some of the different asset classes or some of the different construction of the sort of built environment on the 9.1 acre site. So you're seeing things like parking structures. You've got multiple parking structures. You've got at a minimum 100,000 square feet of Class A office space. You've got about 35,000 square feet in sort of retail and office. That includes some standalone retail. Roughly 150 keys or 150 rooms or a 75,000 square foot hotel. We're characterizing it here in this exhibit and in the development agreement as a boutique hotel, meaning that there was no flag or brand identified, but there was sort of this commitment to high lifestyle. Other than that, we're using the term boutique to sort of reference that at this stage there is not a brand or a flag identified. And then finally, 250 units or 302,000 square feet of multifamily wrapped around a parking structure. In total, this represents about 1,700 parking spaces, and again, a minimum of 500,000 square feet of mixed-use development. Some of the things that we talked about, the following slides represent a little more articulation as to what we mean by the Paseo. So rather than during this negotiation period to where we were talking conceptually and not about an actual site plan, we were inspired by a number of things and shared that with the developer and said we are inspired by a Paseo trail that mixes pedestrians as well as bicyclists and others sort of in a sort of harmonic kind of community walking about through this north-south pedestrian-friendly environment. And so these slides that you see before you are not meant to represent commitments or exactly what it's going to look like, but rather things that we were inspired by and conveyed that to the developer. And I believe that the developer was equally inspired by these attributes. Next, we discuss some South area improvements. I think it's important to note that these slides here represent, again, conceptual ideas that created an inspiration for the development and the overall built environment in the Heritage District. So we're not suggesting that this developer or even Gilbert will develop land belonging to SRP that includes water or even grass, but rather an opportunity to engage in kind of a what if. And that what if is, what if we were to all agree that these types of amenities on the Powerline Trail, what would they create? What kind of environment would they create in that built environment in the Heritage District? And so again, these exhibits were used as inspiration, not as specific negotiation points. And so these South area improvements and complement to the Western Powerline Trail are some conceptual ideas of what it could look like in the Heritage District on the southern end of this property. Next, we show some of those commitments to the Powerline Trail and how they might interact with the north-south Paseo. And so these exhibits aren't meant to convey scale commitments, but rather inspiration of what that built environment could look like on this site through that what if we were to endeavor down a path like this and a vision of this nature. And so again, these serve as merely just inspirational exhibits for the type of development and amenities that we want built in the Heritage District. And then finally, I share with you some of the price and timelines. And so the price, as we mentioned, will be a fair market value price. The minimum baseline for our negotiations in this area start at $5.3 million. We have a process identified in the development agreement for determining actual fair market value of the site and plan to negotiate from this baseline. Again, I remind you of the $350,000 in contributions to the Heritage District. And then begin to outline the timeline or time frame to which you and the members of this community can expect for this project. So as of tonight, we have a council meeting. Should mayor and council consent with this development and disposition agreement, we would move forward to execute the DA and the purchase agreement. No later than 45 days after the opening of escrow, a final price would be determined. We would close no later than 9 months after the opening of escrow. And we build in a provision for the developer for some flexibility. And that flexibility is really just more an option should they decide to choose it for one reason or another. And so we've got an extended period of no more than 4 months subject to extension payments. So with that, Mayor and Council, that provides a sort of a brief overview of the development and disposition agreement, some of what you can expect, how it complements the vision of the Heritage District Master Plan, and some of the components that were specifically negotiated on behalf of the community and our residents. At this point, take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Dan. I'm going to actually ask the council. We do have one request to speak on this item. Is it okay if we go to the request to speak from the citizen first and then open up our questions? Terrific.
Thank you, Mayor. We do have Dorlise Machado Liddell. Dorlise, if you can share us your name, place of residence, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak to us. Thank you.
Good evening again. My name is Dorlise Machado Liddell. I'm a Gilbert resident and I reside in the Heritage District. I'm here to speak on the 9.1 acre development, and my thoughts and my opinions on this is that looking at the redevelopment plan, I know Dan mentioned the master plan, but what is in effect is the redevelopment plan. And I feel that this goes against the redevelopment plan. And I say that because on page 25 of the redevelopment plan, the area, the 9.1 acres, is slotted for hotel or office employment, parks and retention, and also office and employment. That area also has a paseo that leads all the way to Juniper in the redevelopment plan. When I hear this plan, I hear concepts. I hear you don't have to do it. We would like you to do it. We think this is the vision. The vision is the redevelopment plan. And I wish I was more prepared, but I only had 2 days. I know that they've had a long time in this development process, but for the public, we're not aware of it, and we don't have that ability to see the plan. So in addition to that, the Commons is a park. I feel and I believe strongly that that should be a park for the taxpayers' use and enjoyment. We've built 2 parking structures paid for by taxpayers' dollars. The least that we can do for the citizens of Gilbert is to have a Commons Park paid for by the citizens of Gilbert. That's something that they would enjoy, and that they would enjoy throughout future generations. In that development agreement, in 10 years, the developer can do whatever they want. Therefore, that park will go away, it could go away, and anything else could go away. So in planning, we plan for the future. Gilbert, we look at parks. We want soccer fields. But what we need for the Heritage District, the slum and blighted area, is open land that the residents and visitors can enjoy. If it's placed in this development, it is basically owned by the property owner. The citizens don't really have a right to be there. That's the property. That's an amenity for the multifamily. Multifamily use it is in the redevelopment plan, but it's not in the redevelopment plan for that area. So what I ask is that the redevelopment plan be implemented as it is, and if it's going to have substantial changes in the redevelopment plan, it would go back to the people. In addition to signage, I believe that in the plan, in the agreement, it doesn't refer to any sign guidelines. We don't even have design guidelines at this time. However, we do have old design guidelines. And in that, and I believe that you cannot have a gated community in the Heritage District. And if that paseo ends at that gate, the public will not have access through. So I ask you to postpone this, reevaluate it, allow the public to see it, to digest it, because the redevelopment plan is for the people. And our one goal is to eliminate slum and blighted areas, and the residents have to harmoniously live with the businesses. And I think that's necessary. Thank you.
Thank you, Doralice. At this time, we'd like to invite the applicant if they wish to add anything, or we can go directly to council comment. No obligation.
We're happy to speak.
I'm impressed, Charles.
We're happy to speak. Don't worry, it didn't happen in Gilbert. But I know you've spent a lot of time kind of going over this agreement, and we're happy to answer any specific questions or proceed however you'd like. We have a presentation, but Dan has given you a very thorough presentation. We've worked very hard on some of the public spaces you've heard about. We're super excited to be here. You've obviously seen some of the other things we've done in downtown Gilbert. We're excited to continue to work with your staff to refine some of the things people have spoken about, but there is obviously an ongoing public design process that we fully intend to participate in and are excited to do.
Thank you, Charles. I'll look to council. Councilmember Ray.
This is a question for Dan and perhaps Kyle or someone from Development Services. But the point that I have heard from speaking with a couple of residents before the meeting today was a potential concern that things would be built that may go against current standards or current rules. So for example, the height of a building may be too tall. We have a limit of 55 feet in the Heritage District, and there's concerns that things would be built too tall. My question becomes, and for confirmation, if the developer were to want to build something that would go against any current standards, they would then have to go through the normal public process, whether it be a rezone, a text amendment, et cetera, and it would then go to the public again to make any changes to go against any of the current regulations or codes that we have. Is that a fair statement?
So, Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Ray, my understanding is that that's exactly as you laid it out, what would take place. I'm happy to allow the attorney to opine on this matter and or Kyle, but yes, anything above sort of the required limits would have to go through sort of a legislative process that ultimately would find its way back to you for direction and a potential motion.
Dan's talking like an attorney.
Mayor, members of the council, I can absolutely confirm what Dan just told you. It will be going back through public processes for design, for site layout, any height changes, any changes, all be subject to public processes.
So it's not just height, it's any change that would go against a current code or regulation would have to be, exactly.
The entire design, yes.
Thank you.
Mayor, I just add that it's already been to Planning Commission once for a study session for a preliminary review, but it'll be back.
And that's our understanding as well. We know we have to go through the process. We know we have to continue to work with your staff to go through a public process, commission, and ultimately the council, and we intend to do that.
Question for Dan or Amanda. Could you briefly, I've heard tonight that the public was not involved. Could you please give us a brief summary of all the public hearings and so forth that we have had on this?
Certainly, Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Anderson, we've got some slides here that Amanda and I would essentially like to piggyback on. I draw this initial slide to your attention, which talks about the redevelopment plan North Anchor and the different uses that were conceptualized at the time that the plan was put before mayor and council, and the conceptual plan from the 9.1 acre DDA are right here before you. The The resident mentioned that this site would have multifamily, and as you see, the vision for the North Anchor doesn't include multifamily, simply because it's not an approved use sort of by itself without having the appropriate dedication of ground floor to retail. I remind you that in the Heritage Village Center zoning category, if you have ground floor retail, you can have sort of loft above. I say sort of loft above because loft looks and feels different in particularly every development, but that's one of the requirements of the Heritage Village zoning requirement. So if multifamily were to come onto this site, you can be assured that we would follow the Heritage Village Center zoning category and that it would include retail on the ground floor. In addition, I share with you this timeline. This timeline dates back to 2015 through council adoption, and in every one of these bullet points, which you may or may not be able to read, conveys different public outreach. Following this slide is sort of a breakdown of those groups that we were able to meet with through the redevelopment plan outreach. So from 2015 all the way up through council adoption, and as recent as the most, I think there was a Morning with the Merchants meeting last month, you see a survey with 4,000 responses, stakeholder working groups. There's a 6 there because there were 6 stakeholder working groups, 6 technical committee working groups, 2 council workshop sessions, in-person public workshops, video of the public workshops and online feedback, neighborhood meetings, booth at community events like the like on Saturday morning during our farmers market, door-to-door engagement, one-on-one in-home meetings, website landing page that has all of this information about the Heritage Plan, what went into the Heritage District Plan, including traffic design, et cetera. Facebook Live, Twitter, goes on and on. It's one thing to kind of do the plan outreach. Another question that's sort of obvious to ask is, who did we engage? Everything from residents to property owners, landowners, developers, merchants, businesses, certainly council members, consultants and other experts that are hired by the town, town staff, certainly, visitors coming into the area. We're sort of engaged, brokers from the commercial real estate and the residential real estate.
Thank you, Dan.
side.
I think that's some people wanted me to mute you. I wasn't going to do that.
Sure. Glad to not be booed.
I think we would like Amanda have a turn.
No,
Yeah,
no.
by all means. Yeah.
Dan, we're just giving you a hard time. That is an exhaustive list, and absolutely, our goal is always for transparency. And with all joking aside, our goal is always to be constantly engaged with our residents and on multiple levels, and to meet them where they are, and not just expect them to come to us.
Exactly.
So I know that there was a study session item. The Redevelopment Commission has actually heard about this project as well, and then in addition to that, all the redevelopment plans. So our goal again is to meet our residents where they are and to make sure that everything we're doing is very transparent. So all joking aside, I appreciate the tremendous efforts that have been made to that end.
And Mayor, if I might, we're certainly not perfect in this regard, but we strive for excellence, and the outreach that we sought out was to bring excellence to this process and ensure that we were engaging the community, to your point, where the residents and where the community resides.
Thank you, Dan. Councilmember Taylor?
Mayor, thank you. A question on the topic of infrastructure. Could you briefly comment on the current readiness of it and maybe some processes that the project would go through to analyze what updates, if any, might be needed for infrastructure for water, traffic specifically?
Certainly, Mayor, members of the council, Councilmember Taylor, to the extent that you want me to be specific, I'd have to draw upon certainly Public Works and other valued team members. But in terms of the infrastructure that's on site, through the development process and through the submittals of construction documents as well as design documents, the infrastructure, et cetera, will be assessed, evaluated, and be able to sort of join and relate its capacity to accommodate growth and density that this site has on it. And so at the risk of not getting into meter size, depth, and those kind of things, I'll leave you with that broad answer. If that's not substantial enough, I'd certainly be happy to call upon another team member to come up and address your specific concerns about infrastructure.
No, I think that's good. I think the point, Mayor, is there's going to be an extensive process to understand if we don't have sufficient capacity, there will be those issues addressed during the development process. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from council? With that, we can entertain a motion. Councilmember Anderson, did you want to make the final statement before we vote as our liaison to the Redevelopment Commission?
Sure. I was very happy to hear the comments that Councilmember Ray had, because I want to assure everyone, especially Doralice, that there is further input that will be able to be given to this plan as it goes forward. And we have gone through an exhaustive process to get to where we're at. And that's why we have certain things that are shown on this site plan, including the paseo, including there was a lot of discussion about traffic in the Heritage District. We have a street, the Vaughn Ventilator, that was born out of this process, and that we hope will alleviate traffic somewhat in the district. I'm not sure about the gate in the Commons area. It's my understanding in the agreement that the town will be using that Commons area as well as the developer. But the plan conceptually, and these are minimums we're talking about, and conceptually the plan reflects, I think, very closely to not only the redevelopment plan but the master plan that Doralice was talking about. And there was some concern about rooftop signs, and I think Dan addressed that. And we as a council certainly haven't even talked about anything like that, and it was something that may come up in further design guidelines, but that's something that for a future date. It's nothing that we should be concerned about at this point going forward with this plan. So I think, and I was telling someone the other night, I drove purposely through downtown Chandler, telling Amanda this, I think, and it's amazing what's happening in Gilbert versus if you drive downtown Chandler. They're trying really hard, and I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's planning like what we're doing in the Heritage District now that is generating the enthusiasm in our downtown that's missing in downtowns like Chandler or Mesa. And it seems like anything that happens, and especially this particular developer, we're excited because they have a history of some very excellent projects that have generated a lot of enthusiasm where they are. So and we just entertained last night some more improvements to our museum building. So we have the two ends of our Heritage District that are improving, which will just be further enforcing the viability and the livability and the vibrancy of our district. So we're looking forward to that. And with that, Your Honor, you know, I used to say that all the time when I was on that side down there. It was always, Your Honor. Yeah, Mayor. I'll make a motion that we approve items. Item 2A.
And Mayor, I'd like to add to that as a second that we include we received an email from a citizen, and we'd like to include Sandra Reynolds' email as public record for this consent, or excuse me, this agenda item 2A.
Perfect, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 7-0 vote. Thank you. And thank you to our economic development team and also to LGE and DMB for their assistance. We appreciate you. I will open the public hearing on our agenda items. When I find out from our council, are there any public hearing items that you all wish to speak about? 20? Is everything else moving forward?
I believe so.
I will open the public
Mayor,
hearing.
Mayor.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry, did you say 20?
And we said 20.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yep, gotcha. All right, open the public hearing on agenda items 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 21. I will close the public hearing on those agenda items and entertain a motion.
Mayor, we move to approve agenda items 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 21.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 6-0 vote. A 7-0 vote, sorry. I will open the public hearing on agenda item 20. Councilmember Taylor?
Mayor, just wanted a separate vote on this. I think I've spoken on this topic plenty, so just wanted to vote separately. Thank you.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick comment. There are some projects in here, or some areas that I do have some trepidation, but overall, I support the package, and we'll vote on specific projects as they come to the council. I did have one comment. There was a question on the application that asked for specific regulations within the town that would increase the cost and affordability of development and housing, and there was nothing listed on there. I do think it's important to note that we are rewriting our land development code and doing a lot of review, and that might be worth including. I know HUD is making it a practice at this point to ask cities and towns to furnish whatever kinds of regulations are going to be causing inaffordability in housing, and there's going to be ties to the dollars that they release specifically to communities who aren't addressing that. There was a national study by the Home Builders Association as well as the Multifamily Housing Association that attributed 30% of cost to housing affordability to local regulations. And so while I'm sure we have our list, because there's really any land use reg is an encumbrance to development and therefore has a cost, not that there aren't overarching reasons for those. I do think it's appropriate, might be beneficial to include some of the things that we're doing to roll back some of those land use in the LDC.
Thank you, Councilmember Yentes. We'll ask Patrick to carry that forward to our town team as they look to prepare the rest of those applications as we move forward. With that, I will close the public hearing on agenda item 20 and entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move we approve agenda item 20.
Second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 6-1 vote. Thank you. That moves us to our administrative items. Agenda item 22, our boards and commissions, the adoption of a resolution creating a 2020 Census Complete Count Committee. I believe that process is underway now. Is there a motion on agenda item 22?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Please vote. That motion carries with a 7-0 vote as well. Are there any boards, commission, and committee reports from our council tonight? Awesome. Let's move on. We do have a future meeting agenda item. And are there communications from Patrick on current events?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. I wanted to highlight some recognition Gilbert received lately. We were rated the 6th healthiest Valley employer in the midsize category by the Phoenix Business Journal. We moved up 3 spots from 9th last year. And we were also given the Platinum Level Award for Healthiest Arizona Worksite Program, up from the Gold last year, and that is the highest possible level you could attain.
Awesome. Thank you. Report from council on current events. Councilmember Taylor?
Mayor, it's graduation season. We recognize a lot of good citizens, but we'd like to congratulate the class of 2019 for all Gilbert residents and encourage them to be safe and smart with all of their celebrations, and congratulate all of them. Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely. I think there's a graduation for a Gilbert school every night, starting tomorrow night through the week after Memorial Day, because some of our schools, so it's going to be a busy time. Lots of parties, I'm sure of it. Any other current events? I have one I'd like to share. Our Vice Mayor, Eddie Cook, celebrated a birthday last Sunday. He had to share it with Mother's Day, I think. I'll have to ask offline how that went. But we are excited for his birthday, and we have 2 of his favorites. Your wife told on you, so oatmeal and M&M cookies, I think was what she said.
Is that what she said? She didn't say like sushi or sukiyaki or...
She did say Pringles, and I was going to bring you a can of Pringles, but I didn't. But happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
We appreciate you.
Well,
and
I
all
will
that
tell
you
you,
do.
we got to celebrate with my mom and Jenny. And I would say my kids focused on mom and grandma, wasn't on dad, so, or her husband. So I said I'm okay with that.
That's nice of you. Yes, we are grateful for the moms. All right, with that, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.